Okay, so today we'll look at redeemable debt. Last time we met, we looked at irredeemable debt. By theory, irredeemable debt, this is a debt that will never be amortized. It's irredeemable, you cannot amortize it. I'm sure, Jess, you know what I mean when I say it cannot be amortized. You cannot pay it back.
Yes, coach.
But that is in theory, and I don't know why that theory is there. It's just maybe to give us an appreciation of how you can compute a debt which is irredeemable. Because the debt which is redeemable, then it means that this is equity. Because equity, when you put in the money, the only thing that you'll be getting when you put in the money in the business or what you call capital, the only thing you'll be getting are your dividends. Maybe at the time that the company is about to exit, that is when you can actually be given what may belong to you based on what will be computed or what will be salvaged from the organization, from the company. But ideally, irredeemable debt is not paid. It's just like equity, and that is in theory. But then we saw some similarities in how you compute your cost of equity, your cost of capital, sorry, your cost of debt versus the cost of equity when you are dealing with the irredeemable debt. But then today we move slightly further. We now look at what is within our experience, redeemable debt, that once you get this debt, yes, you can ask for rescheduling the interest payments, but you cannot ask them to write it off. We have seen some countries where debt has been written off, and Zambia is one of them. I think in the early 2000s, our debt was actually written off, scrapped off, through a program which was actually called then as HIPIC, highly indebted poor countries. And when we reached that HIPIC qualification of highly indebted poor countries, we celebrated because what it meant was all our debt was written off. So meaning that was an irredeemable debt, maybe. But then we now look at redeemable debt. There's some few principles that we have to appreciate, Doreen, that irredeemable debt has a time frame. Like any other debt, you'll be told that you're going to pay this debt in 5 years, you're going to pay this debt in 3 years, and it has to be repaid. Then you have the interest, which has to be paid on a yearly basis. So let's look at this example. But before we look at it, get to understand, just put it on the back of your mind, that when you're dealing with redeemable debt and you have been asked to compute cost of debt, please just focus on getting the internal rate of return. So meaning that formula of internal rate return, the formula for internal rate of return, which you learned in capital budgeting, you should not forget it, which is internal rate of return equals to discount factor 1 plus open bracket NPV1 divided by NPV1 minus NPV2 times discount factor 2 minus discount factor 1 kwa mana. But if you are using Excel and modeling, you don't need to do all those things because Excel gives you a formula, a function called internal rate of return, which is even more accurate than doing those things, than using the other formula. But since you are not doing financial modeling and you'll be required to use that formula that I've given you, we can then now look at this question. This is example 8. GPLC, it reads, GPLC has in issue 6% debentures quoted at 85% at 85x interest. If you find this calm interest, make sure that you compute it and take it to X interest. The debentures are redeemable in 5 years' time at a premium of 10%. So we are told whatever debenture that we have, at the end of, is it the 5th year, it has to be fully redeemed. But then there will be interest that will be computed on a yearly basis at the rate of 6%. So we are actually humbly asked on finding the return to investors. That is the first thing. Secondly, what is the cost to the company if the rate of corporation tax is 30%? So if corporation tax is 30%, then whatever interest that we get, that interest, there is a relief of 30%, meaning that we multiply that interest that we are going to compute by 70%. So we can start. Sorry, we can start. Go to, I guess you are able to see my whiteboard.
Yes.
Very good. Okay. So I'll show you method 1 and method 2. I prefer method 1 when you are still learning because it becomes easier. It's slightly longer, Jesse, but much easier because it's easier for you. It becomes easier for you to do the computations, to understand the whole process. So we'll use method 1. So on method 1, we'll say year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. Then we'll start with year 0. Obviously, year 0 is now. Okay. So we have how much are we putting in our business? This is what is being invested. I'll call it an outlay. I can say capital outlay. Capital outlay. As an investor, this is what you're putting in. You're putting in, if we go back to the question, the question states, GLC has in issue 6% debentures quoted at 5. So meaning that these debentures are in batches of $100. Shins, are you getting me? They are in batches of $100. But these, they are actually being given at a discounted price at 85. But when you are calculating interest, the interest shall be calculated at par value. The par value is 100. But what has been invested is 85. So 85, this is an outflow. Then you come to interest. So interest is at 6%. What most students make a mistake. Let me do this. Student will make this mistake. They will calculate this times the 6%. Oh my God. Thank you. We now have power.
Good.
Let me switch off this. So some students will do this times 6% in getting interest. That is wrong. It should be calculated at par value. So debentures are in groups of 100. So it should be 100 times 6%. Chinzi wamvera.
New coach.
So that is how it is. You calculate at par value. Oh, sorry. So, meaning that 6% at par value, it will give you a 6. You'll get 6. You'll get 6. These are your fruits, your investment fruits. You have put in a debenture. The debenture each bunch of debenture, should I say debenture, that you have invested in, you get 6% interest on that debenture, which is computed at par value. So these are your fruits. These are your fruits up to your 60th year, your 5th year. Just understand this concept. Then you are told that the debentures are redeemable in 5 years' time. So when do you redeem these debentures? Redeeming, in short, what you are doing, you are just divesting. Your investment has matured, and that's the point of exiting. Doreen, are you getting me? That is a point now you have said. Like the way we do treasury bills. Treasury bills maybe it's every year, every 6 months, every 3 months, depending on what type of treasury bills that you are actually investing in. Government bonds, it could be even 5 years as well, or 10 years. You put in your investment, you know by the end of 10 years, I'm going to get what they call a bullet payment. So these debentures, they are not amortized on yearly basis. They are amortized at the end of the investment period. So you are saying that you are actually going to redeem in the 5th year, but at a premium. So meaning if it is at a premium, it will be 100 at par. Always you calculate at par, which is 100. You ignore this 85. You don't calculate at it using the 85. So it will be 100 times the 10%, which is 1.1, giving you 110. So with this investment, what it means is that in the 5th year, you are going to get a coupon. This interest is basically your coupon. Secondly, you are actually going to get your your investment back. your capital, or what I would call a principal investment, at a premium, which will be 110. Having done this, because at the end of the period, you want to calculate to see whether this investment is viable. If you are a financial consultant for a particular rich man, for example, GBM, and he wants to invest in this is what you are going to do, Chinzi. Once you are done, you can tell him, sir, based on these interest rates that they're giving us, I think we should negotiate further to increase the interest rates. If they are not going to agree with what we are proposing, then we will not actually take the deal. But that is after you have done your analysis, and this is what we are doing. This is what we do in practical life, in real life. I know you are still dealing with textbooks, but this is what is supposed to be done. So you will now do like this. So in year 0, you have your 85 there. This. You have your 6. You have your 6. You have your 6. You have your 6. And you have 116. These are years, Jesse. Don't. They shouldn't be part of the computations. This is a period. These are years.
Yes, coach.
Mm-hmm. So having done that, then you got your discount factor. Your discount factor, which is at 10%. Oh, did I even see the discount factor? Maybe in Naspangir. Okay, so the discount factor, because you want to calculate your internal rate of return, you can, most of the time people would look at the numbers and say maybe 5 to 10 or 10 and 15. So here we're actually using 10, hoping that we're going to have a positive number. Then we can use maybe 15, which can give us maybe a negative, so that that is going to help us in computing the internal rate of return. So let's say, for example, you use 10. It doesn't matter what percentage you use there. So in year 1, your discount factor is now, year 0 is now. All you are actually doing here, just understand this concept, Jason. You are discounting the future cash flows today so that you make a decision now. You cannot wait up to the 5th year to make that decision. Otherwise, you're going to spend, and you end up realizing in the 5th year that you shouldn't have actually gone into that investment. So you are making a decision now. So year 0 is now. Meaning if it is now, $85 that you're going to spend, or 85 kwacha that you're going to spend on buying one debenture is equivalent to today's 85, because you're buying it now. But the 6 kwacha you're going to get as an interest at the end of the year is not equivalent to the 6 kwacha now. So we're actually looking at the power of time value. So in respecting time value, we are saying, let's discount this 6 kwacha to today, so that we discount it. We discount this future cash flow that we are supposed to get at the end of the year to now. So we are saying, if we are using 10%, for example, use this, do it, you get your calculator. The first year, just do 1 over 1.1. Meaning that it is 10% plus 1, which gives you 1.1. How much do you get? I used to know these numbers at, I don't know if it's still 0.909.
0.909.
So don't delete that number. Don't delete that number. on your calculator, don't delete that number, please don't. So put 0.909. I'll still use Excel. You'll see how I'm going to do it faster in Excel. Then in year 2, you divide that number that you have on your calculator, 0.909, divided by 1.1. It should give you something, I think, is it 0.826? Just try to check, guys. 0. What?
0.826.
0.826. Continue dividing, divide it by 1.1 again. In year 3, it gives you 0.7. Is it 36? 0.7?
0.751.
0.751. Then in year 4,
0.683.
0.683. Then in 0.683. Oh, sorry. Okay. Then in year 5,
0.621. 621. 1.
Okay. So then now you start multiplying these numbers. Let me go to my Excel. Let me just open Excel. So in using Excel, guys, just check for those that are doing modeling, because you have capital budgeting as part of your topics. 1. Actually, in that assignment, I think it's capital budgeting. There's a component of capital budgeting. So we'll do like this, Jason.
Yes, coach.
So in here, you have your capital outlay. Which is negative 85. You have your interest, which is in 6. You have your where you're redeeming, I would call it principal. Basically, you're redeeming this. I would say redeem. So it's been redeemed. So you'll be given the cash of 110. So it says sum. So if it is Excel, you don't even waste your time. Once you're done with this, you can now do your internal rate of return, IRR. So we need to check the IRR that we're going to get. It should be closer to this. So do like this, internal rate of return. We open it. So we have these values. This is how you'd actually do it. This is the exact one. But then, if I want to go by your way, I would bring in the discount factor here at 10%. So at 10%, I would say the first one is 1. The other one, I would put discount factor 1, which is 10%, just observe. Then I would come in here and say this divided by 1 plus the discount factor there, lock it. For those that are doing financial modeling, we should get something closer to that. But the IRR one is very close. So I hope these are the numbers that you had. Then would then now compute the present values. Very interesting, guys, and addictive. We'll do that. I'm sure Mapesa Kudala, you've gotten your NPVs. Yeah. Doreen, I guess you have gotten your NPVs already.
Not yet. I was waiting for you.
Because you have the numbers already. We want just to compare. So then the NPV here. Okay, this is a long cut, but if I wanted to get the NPV again, I could do like this, NPV. I could say equals NPV for Jess, who is also doing financial modeling. I would pick these numbers. I would ignore those things. Burma discount factors, I would not even look at them.
Yes.
Then I would say rate. I would say the rate is 10. Then I would get these values and calculate at this. It gives me a positive, of which here, if I do like this, I say sum using another method. So it gives me these numbers. Slightly different from the top one, because this one is very, very accurate. Very, very accurate. So our NPV, we are actually saying we have the 6.06. Then from there, this is the first part where we are actually using the discount factor 10%. You observe, just observe this. This is at 10%. I'll do like this. I'll say at 10%. Then now we pick the other one at, I'll do like this. At 15%, so that we get maybe something like a negative. Or here, I would say discount factor 2, which is 15%. Now you will observe what we'll do here. We'll say, still the same thing. We'll say 1 there divided by 1 plus the 15% that we are picking there. Easy money, guys. Go like this. So it gives us negative 10.20. So from here, now we can calculate the discount factor. We can calculate the internal rate of return. So we know this is NPV 2. This is NPV 1. So we are actually saying we need to calculate NPV 1 minus NPV 2, which I'm going to put in there, guys. So we say this NPV 1 minus NPV 2, it will add, we'll have these numbers. So internal rate of return equals discount factor 1, which is that 10%, plus open bracket, NPV 1, which is the 6.05 divided by NPV 1 minus NPV 2. Whatever we get here, I'll do like this, times discount factor 2 minus discount factor 1, which is basically the 5%. So internal rate of return equals, you should be practicing these things, guys. Discount factor 1, which is 10%. I'll pick it from here, plus, I'll do like this, NPV 1 divided by NPV 2 there where we have 6.24 times discount factor 2, which is the 15%, minus discount factor 1. Can't even do like that. So it gives us
I'll be coming. I'll be coming.
So it gives us 11.86 as internal rate of return. But then the problem with this formula, it doesn't give you an exact rate. The exact rate is 11.71. If we use this 11.71 as discount factor 2 in here, frankly speaking, we'll get a 0 as NPV, because internal rate of return, guys, internal rate of return equals to what, Doroth? Equals to 0 NPV. Chinzi, oh, Chinzi is not there. Jesse, you have gotten that. Internal rate of return equals to 0 NPV. So if we are to use this number, I pick this number, 11.71. I copy this and put it in here. You will see that the value that we are going to have there will be exactly 0. This one here. If I get that number that we had picked down there, let me undo again. If I get this number here, 11.86, it will leave like a certain number. It is not very accurate, it's just an approximation. If I get this, it will leave about negative 0.49. So the examiner expects you to get 11.86 because you are using your calculator. But if it was Excel, this will be the exact internal rate of return, which becomes your cost of equity. This is method 1. Hello?
Hello.
So method 2. Let me just, do you have your discount tables?
No.
You'll be given those discount tables in the exam. Let me just download one discount table for you. Let me do this, blah, 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 so that you're able to see what I'm doing. Since you are the academy, so we need to make sure that we don't hide anything from you. Or present value tables. Let's download one from Sima. So these are the present values, but you want to pick the annuity. So pick the one that accumulates like this. So the one that accumulates, please help me to pick in the fifth year, just write it somewhere, the 3.71. You have done that?
Yes.
Then in the 5th year, I know you already have that number. In the 5th year, we have the present number, which is 0.621. I know you have it. Just write it somewhere. That is method 2, which is a shortcut. But sometimes it's better first you understand. You understand the long cut to actually appreciate the process.
Okay.
Okay, so then now we can go back and do this. Stop share. I go to my Excel. Or first I use this white table there for you to appreciate the whole thing. So say we go to method 2. So start from here now. It should be the years, we'll actually have them in a vertical form. So say year 0, year 1 to 5. And there we'll say year 5. Okay, so this is where we're going to have our cash flows. These are our inflows, or should I say just flows, cash flows. Let me remove the inflows because it will confuse you. This is where we have our cash flows, both negative and positive. Now we are investing at a 5, like this, which is the discount factor. Here it will be 1. In here, then we are actually investing 6. Oh, we are getting the returns of 6 as interest. So from year 1 to year 5, we said it's 3 point what, guys?
3.71.
3 point.
3.791.
I can't get you. Speak through the mic, Doreen.
3.791.
3.791. Then remember that in year 5, that is when we're actually redeeming 110, which is 0.621, right?
Yes.
Then now we have the present values here, which gives us 85 as a negative. Use your calculator, compute 6 times 3 points. You said 3.7, 3.79. 3.791. 6 times 3.791. How much you get, guys?
11.373.
11?
0.373.
It can't be 11 now, can you? 6 times 3 is 18. So whatever number we have to pick, it should be above 18. Just get a calculator. 6 times 3.71.
Or 6. I thought you said 3.
No. It's 6 there. 6. 6 times 3.791. How much do we get?
22.746.
22.746.
746.
Yes.
746. Then 110 times 0.621. How much do we get?
$68.31.
60
8
point
point 31.
31. So how much is the total?
$6.056.
6.05 or 6.6. We can say 6.6. You check, this is the same number that you got using the long cut, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, this is when your discount factor is at 10%. So we are going to replicate this same thing and use the 15% so that you see the number that you are going to get here, which should be negative 10 point something. So this is A. If we wanted, if actually what you do, instead of replicating this, you go now, you show 15% in the exam because you don't have time. You show 15% here. So the discount factor, obviously, you're going to have 1. Then for 15%, oh, sorry. For 15%, mark these numbers. For 15% is 3.352. Just write it somewhere, 3.352.
3.
You have gotten it?
Yes, coach.
Then we go to 15 years here, which is 0.497. 0.497.
0.497, yes.
0.497. So here you have 0.497. Here you have 3 point what?
3.352.
3.352. So you have to find the present values. Let me know the total present value you are going to get. Then we compare with what we got using method 1, which was a bit long, but it helped us to appreciate the process. Just get a bit of some water coming.
Doreen, are you there?
Yes,
kindly help me. How did you find the 6.06? Because I found a different figure.
You get the negative 85.
Oh, okay.
Then you add this one plus 22.746 plus 68.61. 31. And then it will give you the same.
Thank you. Let me just try it.
All right, okay.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Okay, so now how about the second one, which coach has just left? How are we going to do it?
I think what there is what there is year 0, we use the 85 by 1.
Okay.
Then 1 to 5, we multiply 60 by these numbers you told you to write. That's what I'm doing.
How much have you found?
That, oh, I'll still explaining to Jess.
Oh, okay, okay, just okay. Can go ahead. I have another class at 7, yeah, at 7:30, 19:30. It's rough.
Yeah. I'm finding negative 10.22.
Yeah, but that's, yeah. So if you check, that is the number that you had, the other side. Just check the other method.
Coach, are you there?
Hello?
Hello.
Okay, you are
What
done,
happened?
isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So then we go to the second part of the question. It can use the same method though. The second part asks, what is the return to investors that we have looked at? That's the return to investor. What is the cost to the company if the rate of corporation tax is 30%? Because then the company gets a bit of some relief. So let me just share the screen. Again, you do the same thing. You still have those numbers at 10%, but then we'll say year 0, oh sorry, let me not use this. Year 0, year 1 to 5, and year 5. So in year 0, we are actually saying the cash flows. Just move this. So the cash flows is 85, which is a negative. But then here where we're actually looking at the interest, sorry, I should have put the descriptions, but you know the descriptions there and there.
Yes.
So in year 1 to 5, the interest, because then we are told that tax is 30%.
Yes.
So it means that to be 6 times 1 minus 0.3. How much you get? 6 times 0.7.
Yeah.
6 times 7, isn't it 420? So this one gives you 4.20. This is the interest. You know the descriptions, guys. Just put the description the other side. I'm just rushing. Then in year 5, you have 110. So the discount factor here would be 1 at 10%. Sorry, it's at 10%. Give me that number you got at 10%, the annuity. Well, it was 3 point what? At 10%, it was 3 point.
3.791.
3.791. Then here it was, I think, 0.621. It's 0.621. Just quickly find the present values for me, guys. The present values. This one will be negative 85. I have no problem with this. 3.791 times 4.20. How much we get? Should be about 15.92. Just check. 15.92. Try to confirm.
Yes, correct.
Then 110 times 6.21. You already had those numbers, guys. You already had those numbers, which is 68.31. So find the total. The aim is to find NPV, which is 0. And this is why we do those internal rate of return computations, where you need to find the positive one, find the negative one, and use the formula to get the internal rate of return. So what is the NPV here?
Negative 0.77.
Is it negative?
Yes, I've also found the same.
I found negative.
15.92 plus 68.31. How much you get?
What?
15.92 plus 68.31.
It's 84.23.
Okay, so you're saying it gives you about negative 0.77.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
So,
yes,
so this one, guys, it's almost closer. It's almost closer. It's nearing. Would say this is actually nearly 0. So what it means, because you're using 10%, then it means the cost of debt to the company, it is basically 10%. So if you wanted, well, with these numbers that you have, if you wanted, you could still use maybe discount factor 1, say 8%, so that you compute your 8%, which was going to give you a slight positive, or 9%, which was going to give you a slight positive, plus, and your 10% where you're getting negative 0.71, which now becomes your discount 2, then you'll be able to calculate, but still, it will bring you back to about 10%. Not really 10%, but about 10%. And this game is not a game of precision, no. Jess, have you gotten me?
Yes, coach.
Mhm. Okay. So that is how you do your computations. That is the cost to the company and the returns to the investors. The returns to the investors is going to be about 11.87%. That is basically your internal rate of return. But the cost to the company is actually going to be about 10%. So what you can do, use different discount factors for this. Use 9% as discount factor 1 or 8%, then use 10% as discount factor 2. Try to find your internal rate of return using those formulas because you don't need to avoid them. You'll get something that is closer to 10%, maybe about 9.8% or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm going into another class in advanced financial reporting. Let us meet on Thursday. I'll be able to post this video by midnight today.
Okay.
So Jess and Doreen, thank you so much.
Thank you, coach.
Thank you too, coach.
Please do a bit of some practicing. The assignment that you are given, the
Yes.
first assignment, I know you only had the first assignment. Try to look at these numbers. Redo that. There was a question on debentures, a component on debentures. Please just try to do that. The more you
Sure,
practice,
coach.
the better you become. Thank you. Bye-bye.